Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and got another retro review for you. Yeah, I've watched a lot of pay-per-views. I'm catching up. This is No Mercy 2000, also the name of a great video game as well, but, No Mercy. This was a pay-per-view that was sort of a mixed bag, but I'll explain in a bit. We start off with the Dudley Boys Table Invitational match. You had Too Cool, Raven and Taz, the RTC, and of course the Dudleys. And this match was pretty disappointing. Not a lot of quality teams in there. No Hardys, no Edge and Christian, just the leftover teams. Scotty Too Hotty doing the worm under the table was actually the highlight of the match, believe it or not. A dance move beating the highlight of the match. A couple of okay little spots through the table, but nothing really exciting. Nothing else surrounding those spots was really memorable or good. I give the match like 2 1/4 stars. I guess for going through tables, I'll give it some credit, but other than that, not a very good match, not particularly a good opener. Then it was the Acolytes, the APA, and the TNA. They were supposed to wrestle each other, but they got attacked backstage. I don't understand why, but the Trish Stratus looked pretty fucking hot, I have to say. That was probably the only little highlight here. Lita starts getting attacked, and she gets saved by the Hardys. This was kind of pointless. I don't know why this was here. If they're gonna have a match, why not have it? Didn't make a lot of sense. And also having Lita tag with the APA also didn't make any sense. Why was she there? I don't get it. This was just kind of messy. A match that didn't even really make sense, and it didn't even happen. The fuck? It's like, I didn't even really think about that. I've seen this pay-per-view before. I watched it when it was first on, and I'm even noticing that there was actually some retarded shit. It's an Attitude Era pay-per-view, but see, people who say that all I do is praise the Attitude Era, I'm going to dash it when they do stupid shit, and that was stupid. Then you had Jericho and X-Pac in a steel cage, and this was a very good match. I particularly liked the walls of Jericho on the top of the cage. Pretty good spot there and a funny finish. X-Pac, gets low blowed by the cage door. Pretty good match. Cage matches are usually longer than this, but it was a shorter cage match and it was pretty good. I give it 3.5 stars. Pretty good. 2 good wrestlers having a good match. Then you had the Right to Censor. Val Venus and Steven Richards defeating China and Mr. Ass. Eddie Guerrero comes in with the roses with a lead pipe in it. The match wasn't good. We were originally supposed to get Billy Gunn and Eddie Guerrero for the IC belt, but it didn't happen. It would have been a way better match if it was a one-on-one match, but not like this was bad or anything, but it felt just like a Raw SmackDown match. 2 stars, not fitting of a pay-per-view. Then Stone Cold and Rikishi brawled to a no contest. Yes, it was no disqualification, but Stone Cold almost hit Rikishi with a car. It's very hard to rate this type of match. I'm not even going to bother rating it because it was more about furthering a storyline. I remember how disappointed I was when I found out that it was Rikishi who ran over Stone Cold. We're waiting almost a whole year to find out who it's going to be. And, it was kind of obvious it was probably going to be Triple H involved somehow. But we all thought it was going to be somebody better. Like, I didn't know who it was going to be. I couldn't think of anybody really, but Rikishi, of all people. Now, I know Rikishi was very over with the crowd, and then they decided to turn him heel. It was a unique idea, but no one really gave a fuck. That was the problem. It was just a huge disappointment. And then Rikishi would, they quickly put Triple H into this feud. They made like Triple H told Rikishi to run over Stone Cold. So they quickly got Rikishi out of the picture, So he still stayed in the main event for a couple of months, but they quickly de-pushed him when they realized that, it wasn't going over that well. But I enjoyed this segment. Stone Cold had Rikishi bloodied. He props him up against the wall outside the arena, and he goes to hit him with his fucking truck, but a police car gets in the way, and it was chaotic. This was Attitude Era shit at its finest. Then we had William Regal defeating Naked Mideon, which was funny to see Mideon, and the bit gay, in the fanny pack with nothing but a thong on underneath. Funny, but a horrible match. like a really stupid, just nonsensical match. I give it a half of a star. Mideon couldn't be any sloppier of a wrestler. I mean, this guy he's one of the worst wrestlers I think I've ever seen that stayed employed for a long period of time. I mean, this guy was not even in shape. I mean, look at him. And, you could argue that, Dusty Rhodes wasn't in shape, but look at him. Well, Mideon's no fucking Dusty Rhodes. This was just, I don't understand, why this was even on a pay-per-view. A bit of entertainment, but it didn't even seem like the crowd really cared. People found this funny for a time, but, putting him on pay-per-view, not one of the better ideas. Watch pay-per-views for quality matches. Keep the storylines and comedy for Raws and SmackDowns. Then it was Los Conquistadors, which were Edge and Christian, obviously, and they defeated the Hardys for the tag belts. This match was, very boring, actually. You would think that it would, be really good because it's Edge and Christian versus the Hardys, two of the best teams ever. But I guess since they were doing the whole Conquistador spiel, they were doing too much goofiness to really have a good match. Funny spot when you had Matt Hardy peeling off the mask and there was another mask underneath. But yeah, decent. I guess, not really horrible. I give it 2 stars. Some parts were alright, but, really just a big disappointment, and the whole Conquistadors thing, you look back on it, and it was pretty pointless. What was the point? I think the storyline at the time was Edge and Christian weren't allowed to have any more tag title shots, so they pretend to be another team. But, it was just goofy. It didn't need to be there. Then you had Triple H. This was I just got to say that this was, the Attitude Era, but you could see as 2000 was winding down, you could see where little terrible ideas were being put throughout. Not like the Attitude Era was pointless, but you could see where the cracks were starting to form at this point. Then you had Triple H defeating Chris Benoit in what was an epic fucking match. I think it was like 20 minutes of just great fucking wrestling. Holy fucking shit. One of my favorite Triple H matches of all time. Without a fucking doubt. Benoit is a fucking murdering ass psychopath that died from roids and too many concussions. But he was a good wrestler. I will give you psychopaths who still support him and say that he didn't kill his family and himself, some credit. He's a good wrestler. And this was an example of why, but Triple H has never done that many moves ever. This guy was used fucking 50 different moves in this match. Great submissions, great psychology as they were working body parts, and they weren't boring about it. There were no rest holds. They were actual submissions that looked like they hurt. This was fucking perfect. In the end, they were struggling to do their finisher. Nobody wanted to lose. This was exactly how a match should be done. We saw quality wrestling at WrestleMania 30, but I have to use this example. Why can't we have matches like this? This was so fucking good. 5 stars. I mean, this was perfect. I can't get over how much I love the finish. And Benoit's going for the crossface. No, Triple H wants the pedigree, and they're going back and forth. And it looked real, like a real struggle. Almost like in a movie, guys struggling over a gun or a knife. They were struggling to get their finisher. Epic shit there. Then it was Kurt Angle defeating The Rock for his first WWF Championship. This match had a lot going on in it, and it was very exciting. Stephanie McMahon gets rock bottom. Triple H gets angry and beats the shit out of everybody. Rikishi comes in, super kicking The Rock, and a lot of different storylines just all over the place in this one. And an exciting match, it was crazy fucking shit. Like the previous match, just exciting stuff. Not as good of a wrestling technical display, but more dramatic, from a storyline standpoint. I give it 4 stars. Very exciting shit, especially with that finish at the end, where, it didn't look like Angle was going to win, but he comes out of nowhere and wins it, and getting a very deserving title win after putting on a lot of quality matches that year. This pay-per-view, while not perfect and had some bullshit throughout, like a match that didn't even take place, which is unacceptable, a disappointing Hardy Boys performance, but, a good cage match, and 2 really good matches at the end, and I like the Stone Cold stuff. I'll give this pay-per-view, I'll go easy on it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I was thinking 7.5, but an 8 out of 10. Too much, there was a lot of shit, naked Midian and stuff, and, but I will cut it a break. 8 out of 10. A 5-star match was on the crowd, a good main event, so I will say it was a good pay-per-view, and it was enjoyable. Alright.